Hi, I'm Floyd Dieter, the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for the South Jordan, Utah North Shore Stake of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We're glad to have you with us, but you may want to check out some of the earlier videos on this channel in order for this one to make sense. If you're a returning visitor, we're glad you're back. This is our third video on food storage. As you may recall from earlier videos, food is a big consideration in preparing for the types of emergencies we're most likely to face here in Daybreak. And the First Presidency has encouraged us to store food for emergencies. The thing is, food storage seems to be a big stumbling block for many of us in our emergency preparations. It's like a whale sandwich. I know it seems insurmountable, but the best way to eat a whale sandwich is one bite at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your food storage journey will take some time too. So let's take it incrementally, one bite at a time. We start small and work our way up, and we can follow the church guidelines to do it. The church has laid out three different types of food storage: emergency packs, short-term supply, and long-term supply. We covered emergency packs and short-term supplies in earlier videos. So today we're going to dive into long-term supplies. First, let's talk about what we mean by long-term food storage. Think about this as your rainy day food storage fund. This is really for extended emergencies. We're generally talking about storing up basic dry goods with a shelf life from 10 to 30 years. With that kind of targeted shelf life, we're storing items low on moisture and oil. Dry goods. Whether you're just starting out with your food storage program or you're just tuning things up, I'd suggest tackling long-term food storage after you've taken care of food for your 72-hour packs and built up your 3-month supply. In fact, think of long-term food storage as supplementing your 3-month stores in the event you face a longer-term disruption. And I'd suggest for long-term food storage the same incremental approach we've been talking about all along. Rather than trying to do it all at once, just keep moving forward bit by bit. Eat that whale sandwich one bite at a time. When we talk about long-term food storage, you generally see one of two approaches. Folks either buy prepackaged storage, usually freeze-dried meals in a bucket, or they assemble their own storage. Sometimes a sealed bucket, sometimes they do it on their own with canning, sometimes they seal their own buckets, so on. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. Buying prepackaged is convenient. There's not a lot of thinking required, as a prepackaged solution has measured out the meals and it's accounted for nutritional value for each of those meals. And the only meal prep is typically adding water. All you really have to do is write the check. And it's typically a big check. I've included some links to suppliers in the notes below this video for those of you who want to check this out a little bit further. The other approach is assembling your own food storage. And this requires a bit more thinking and planning and effort. You need to take into account intake of calories, nutritional balance, how will you prepare and consume what you store? I mean, what good is a bucket of wheat without a grinder, for example? Will you preserve the food yourself? Canning, sealed buckets, sealed bags, and buckets or boxes? The upside is that taking a do-it-yourself approach will save you a significant amount of money and will likely align better with your family's dietary preferences and needs. So people ask me all the time after I talk about these two approaches, what approach should I take? My answer to that is be creative. There are lots of things you can do. Maybe combine the two methods. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. What about gardening? Could you grow and preserve some of your own food supply? Seek out group buy opportunities and special discount sales. Emphasize supplementing your 3-month supply with 9 months of these longer shelf life dry goods. Learn canning. Talk to friends, take up their good ideas, see what they're doing. Be creative, it works. And then of course you have this scenario that we always have to address is where will we store this extra food? In your pantry? How about your basement? How about your garage freezer? Under your bed? Spare space in the closet? Again, be creative. I'll give you an example. A lot of folks tend to snicker at me when I talk about storing food under the bed. Okay, let's run some numbers. Let's do a little math. Under the bed storage, assuming 5 pounds of food per can, that can vary a little bit by food type, depending on whether you're doing macaroni or you're doing wheat or rice or beans. But I just came up with an assumption for this example of 5 pounds of food per can, which is pretty typical for wheat, rice, beans. A twin bed, 12 cases of number 10 cans, that's 360 pounds of food, not cans, food alone. Full bed, 480 pounds. A queen bed, 540 pounds. A king bed, 750 pounds. And the best news of all, there's no room left under that bed for dust bunnies. So my point is, be creative, explore your options. Creativity works. I thought I'd wrap this one up with some references so you can learn more. The links are in the notes below, but I'll just highlight them here. BYU has done some amazing work on planning a year supply, and it's amazing because it's concise. It's a page. The Provident Living website has a very good overview on long-term food storage as well. In fact, at Provident Living, you also have opportunities to purchase food storage supplies online. And then last but not least, there's a great book out there by an author by the name of Karen Morris. A Year Without the Grocery Store, a step-by-step guide to acquiring, organizing, and cooking food storage. Great book, definitely worth the read. So that concludes our final chapter on food storage. I hope you got something out of it. Well, it's final for now anyway. We may address it later on. Until next time, be smart, be safe, and be ready.